Hello! Who fancies some trivia questions about video games? Hopefully everybody, because that is basically exactly what this video is about. Look, Geek Heart Gamer Trivia, and it's a tin that looks like a joypad. Look at me, mother, I'm playing the games. 100 trivia questions in a nice tin. I do like a nice tin. Yeah, I was basically given this tin, and inside are 100 trivia questions. It really is that easy, but I was going through these a couple of months back with some friends, and there's something deeply odd about the questions and the way they are put forward. Well, we will discover that. I'm just going to pick some out at random, and it will not take long to find some weird ones. Thanks, spinninghat.com. I'll bet that website doesn't resolve anymore. Maybe it does. Maybe they now actually sell hats that spin. How cool would that be? Anyway, Geek Gamer Trivia, 100 video game-inspired questions. What was the first home console? That was the Magnavox Odyssey, if I can pronounce it correctly, back in the early 70s. I'm going to say 1972, not 100% sure. Should have looked that up. In what year was Sega Genesis released in North America? No bloody idea. Mega Drive came out over here in 1990, so probably 1989? Or if it was like the end of the year, might have even been 1988. Don't know. In what year was Nintendo 64 released? Where? You specified the country there, not here. I think I bought one in like 1998, after GoldenEye had come out. Must have been out a year then, so I would have said 1997 over here. I don't really know. Anyway, let us grab some of these rather gigantic cards. Look, there's loads of them, and we shall answer ourselves some questions. Actually, I want to get a load out now, because if not, it will prove annoying later on. Come on, come with me. Oh God, I'm going to drop them. No. No. Bums and potatoes. Get over there, blimey. Right, so I'm going to attempt to read these sort of from the bottom up of the screen so that I can look through the viewfinder and not see the answers. But I don't think that'll probably work. Anyway, let's give it a go. So, to begin, question 1. David Crane, Larry Kaplan, Alan Miller and Bob Whitehead left Atari to form which company? That was indeed Activision. I didn't know that. I just read the answer. Question 2. Who created a tennis game called Chase on his brown box years before the release of Pong? That is, of course, Ralph Baer. Oh, bless him. He died a year or two back, I believe. Very sad. He's in very many ways the father of modern video games, one could say. Ah, sad. Right. Question 1. In Mortal... Oh, balls, I've shown the answers. Hang on, I'll have to work this out slightly differently when I... Oh, well. Hopefully you didn't notice. In Mortal Kombat, the final boss was the evil Shang Tsung, but can you name the four-armed monster who needed beating before him? That is, of course, Prickly Pete, or as he's known to his friends, Goro. Question 2. In the game Mortal Kombat, what phrase is heard when Scorpion uses his spear? Right, we've got a weird one already. Answer, get over here. Except he also sometimes says, come here, doesn't he? So there are actually two answers, one of which you haven't given. That's a bad start, Mr. Quizmaster. Next up, question 1. How many bits was the Super Nintendo Entertainment System? Physically? Or, you know, in the sort of processor aspect? It was 16-bit, wasn't it? We all know bloody that. Question 2. Which 64-bit Sega system was a predecessor to the PlayStation and Nintendo 64? Well, in the 32X, is it? I suppose you're going for the Sega Saturn, yeah. But it wasn't really 64-bit. It kind of had two 32-bit processors, which nobody could ever work out how to program properly, if I remember. I don't know. They were weird days. I used to sometimes wear a hat. How weird is that? Next up, question 1. Name the most popular classic game designed by a woman. Okay. I've got a bloody clue. Answer, Atari Centipede was designed by Donna Bailey. Is that the most popular classic game designed by a woman? Who's coming up with the criteria there? I don't know. A bit of a weird one, that, isn't it? Question 2. In what year was the Atari 2600 released? Bloody hell, there's a one. Was it late 70s or early 80s? Do you know, I have got no bloody idea. I'm going to guess at 1979. Balls, 1977. Well, got that one wrong, didn't I? Next, question 1. What was the name of the memory cards that the Sega Dreamcast used? That's the VMU, or Visual Memory Unit, as I'm sure many of you are saying at home. Ah, the Visual Memory Unit, or as we called them, the Battery Guzzler 3000. Seriously, you couldn't do anything with them because they run out of batteries in like 4 seconds flat. Question 2. The NES Power Pad was bundled with which game? No clue whatsoever. World-class track meet. Marvellous. I couldn't even tell you what the NES Power Pad is. That's not something I ever had, like... Question 1. Primal Rage for the Super Nintendo falls into which gaming genre? Is a fighting game, innit? What with them dinosaurs made out of like plasticine? They smack each other about, don't they? Yeah, fighting. That's close enough. Question. Which of the following characters appears in the game Killer Instinct, but is not a playable character? Idol. Was he a playable character, or was he the... I can't remember the character. Idol or Iodol, as you pronounce it, actually. Was that like the weird end game boss, which was like a Cyclops? Gee, I can't remember enough about Killer Instinct these days. Riptor was the Velociraptor thing. Yeah, you could certainly play as that. Akuma. Don't remember there being a character called Akuma in Killer Instinct. Or D, all the characters that appear in the game are playable. What? What does that mean? See, this is such a weird one, isn't it? All the characters that appear in the game are playable. So you're saying there are no non-playable characters in Killer Instinct, so you can play as the end boss. That may be correct. Don't remember a character called Akuma, though. What is the answer? All the characters that appear in the game are playable. Is that... I've got no idea if that's right or not, frankly. I'm still extremely confused. Never a fan of Killer Instinct. Always played a bit weird, I thought. Wasn't a fan of the big old long combos and stuff. But I do like me fighting games in general. Question 1. Question. In Blizzard's Diablo, the first boss encountered in the game... Oh, God, I remember this one coming up before. Right. This is a really weird one. In Blizzard's Diablo, the first boss encountered in the game is A, a demon, B, a giant skeleton, C, a butcher, or D, a mutant rat. It is a demon called the Butcher, if I remember correctly. And it's kind of is a butcher. It has a big... meat cleaver and an apron and stuff, so it's a kind of demon butcher. But it just gives the answer as a butcher, but it is a demon. In fact, it's more demon than butcher. It's like, isn't the fact you're a demon more important than your career? Who knows? Apparently not to Spinning Hat. One of those phrases I wasn't expecting to come out with when I got up this morning. Question 2. When Mega defeats a boss, he acquires their power, upgrades his arm cannon, learns a new attack, or can access the next level. Even I know that is, of course... Upgrading, no, isn't he? Acquires the power, doesn't he? Yeah, there we are. Never played a Mega Man game, I don't think. That's weird, isn't it? There's been loads of the buggers over these. Oh, well. That'll be because I didn't have a Nintendo in it. Next, question 1. What was the first version of the Pokemon game released for the handheld gaming systems? Well... For the Game Boy, I would have said, rather than the handheld gaming systems. All right, the first versions, if you're talking about the Western ones, it was red and blue, wasn't it? But I believe in Japan it was red and green. Which one? You're just saying red. Well, that's wrong. And you're stupid and you smell of whoopsies. Deary me. Question 2. In the popular first-person shooter Doom, the most powerful gun in the game is called Plasma Rifle, Rocket Launcher, Nuclear Bomb, BFG. It's the BFG. Which does not stand for Big Friendly Giant, stands for Big Fucking Gun. Question 1. Yes, I remember this one. This is my absolute favourite. The Commodore, not the Commodore, but the Commodore Amiga CD63 was released in what year? It wasn't released at all, because there's no such thing. There was the Commodore Amiga CD32. Have they done this on purpose, in case somebody nicks their questions and tries to put them in, like, a big book of questions one day, and they can say, aha, you have stolen our questions because you have also copied our tricksy, deliberately fake one. Ha ha ha, maybe they don't know what the fuck they're doing, which frankly, from some of the other questions, I think is quite likely. 1993, apparently. That sounds about right, for the CD32 at least. In what year was the Sony PlayStation released? Oh, early 90s, wasn't it? It's about 1995 over here, wasn't it? 1994. Is that England? Is that America? I genuinely don't know. Oh, I could have been completely wrong anyway. Next up, question 1. On the first day of its existence, the original Pong game broke down. Why? I feel like I've heard this. Was it because it was so stuffed with coins? Or what? No, that's Space Invaders, isn't it? Is it because it caught fire because a skunk peed on it? No, its coin box was overstuffed with quarters. That does make sense. What does the word Atari mean in Japanese? And I can see the answer from where I am. I can see it on my thumb. It means prepare to be attacked. I did not know that. I knew it's In the Japanese game Go, an Atari is like the equivalent of getting check in chess, isn't it? So that makes sense, I suppose. Next, question 1. In the classic game Pac-Man, if you wanted to eat a ghost for bonus points, you first had to eat what? Your hat! No, a power pellet. There we are, that was easy. Question 2. What classic arcade game was the first to feature the carpenter Jumpman, who would later change his career and be known as Mario? That's, of course, Donkey Kong. We remember when Mario was Jumpman, and before that he was Nick-a-Click McFlickers, but you never hear that mentioned. It's odd. I suspect some sort of super injunction. Oh, God, mate. Question 1. What could Sonic the Hedgehog not do in the video games that real hedgehogs can due to mistaken information about the mammal by the game developers? That's a hell of a question. Fly, swim, make friends, what? Or run faster than the speed of sound. Right. So real hedgehogs cannot fly, make friends, or run faster than the speed of sound, so it's obviously swim. That's not the greatest question in the history of the world, is it really? You can work that one out on your own. Is that true, that they thought hedgehogs couldn't swim? Or is it just a case of, it's easier for video game design if there are lots of areas of water that are immediately deadly, which was a very common trope in 8-bit games? I don't know. When playing the original Halo, what multiplayer option was not available to players? Split screen, co-op campaign, Xbox Live, local Ethernet, obviously Xbox Live, because it predates it, doesn't it? I remember everyone getting all excited about Xbox Live, and I couldn't really understand why, because we'd been playing games over the internet on PC for bloody years. We'd all been playing Unreal Tournament and getting banned because we could hit 50% of shots with a sniper rifle and everybody would claim you were cheating. I mean, for God's sake, you practiced with it, you still missed half the time, and they thought you were cheating. Bloody Unreal Tournament. Those were the days on Deck 16. And your mate who always had twin ISDN lines because it was the days before broadband. Oh my God, what days they were. How was a player able to warp in Super Mario World for the SNES? By finding the hidden keys, by taking the Star Road, by finding the magic whistle, or flying on a blue Yoshi? There is something about a magic whistle, isn't it? But I don't think that's Super Mario World. I think it's the Star Road, isn't it? Yeah, well, they're agreeing, but frankly, I'm not sure I trust them. Question 2. In Donkey Kong Country for the SNES, a second player could join as your sidekick named... it was Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, wasn't it? So the sidekick is Diddy Kong, presumably, yeah. Oh, that was easy. Next. Question 1. Super Mario 64 for the Nintendo 64 console begins with Princess Peach inviting Mario over for cake, being kidnapped by Bowser, getting lost in her castle, or falling through a magic portal. Well, she's kidnapped... Ooh, saying she's kidnapped by Bowser, but I've just spotted the letters K and E to the right of my thumb, so maybe it's invite... Does she? Yeah, they sends a letter inviting him over for cake. Those were the days when games began with requests for people to come over and eat cake. These days they've just been with long fucking cutscenes. Mario Kart 64 was the first of the series to be rendered in 3D. In the multiplayer battle mode, a player is eliminated when their last balloon pops. What? They get hit by a Koopa shell. When they run out of coins, when they hit the balloons, isn't it? They're used as lives. Their last balloon... Like the late breakfast. Yeah, their last balloon pots. They're called last... How have they managed to actually transpose that error? Am I missing something here? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure I care. Either. Question 1. Nintendo had tremendous success with their SNES console, but how many buttons does its controller have? Not including the D-pad. Oh, God. Right, well, there's 4 on the face. There are the 2 shoulder buttons. And there's a start and there's a select. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you're not counting the D-pad, are you? No. Answer 8. Hooray! We got there, team. Question 2. What does MAME mean to you? Arcade, a gaming convention, a text-based game variant, tearing opponents limb from limb. Well, MAME is the multiple arcade machine emulator, which emulates arcade machines. That's not a great answer, but the question is, what does it mean to you? You don't fucking know that, Question Master. To me, it could mean my Auntie Flo's cat. What, you need empirical questions, not subjective ones. Come on. Rule number 1 of the quiz. Question 1. Oh, my God. The first Final Fantasy was created while developer Square was nearing bankruptcy. The director Hironobu Sakaguchi, thinking the game would be the last, gave the series its name. Oh. It was not his Final Fantasy. Over 2 decades later, the series is still going strong. What was the name of the final boss? Oh, fuck off! You did that on purpose. It was chaos, apparently. I didn't know that, but fucking hell. Here's Here's 48 reams of totally irrelevant text. Is this the other one doing it? The Sega Mega Drive, when released, had superior graphics and sound to its competitor, the NES. How many buttons were on the original Sega Mega Drive controller? Again, you've got a bit of sort of non-germane information at the start, but that is astonishing, that question. I want that on a tombstone. Not mine, just random person's. How many buttons on the original Sega Mega Drive controller? You've just got 3 on the face, haven't you? And 2 in the middle. I like the way they've said original, because there was that 6-button one, wasn't there? Anyway, the answer's 5. 3, what? No, there's a start button, isn't there? No, there wasn't a select button, was there, on the Mega Drive pad? God, I'm trying to picture one now. I think there's... Well, there's definitely at least 4, so you're stupid and wrong and I hate you. Humph. Next. Question 1. Created in 1980, Missile Command was popular and successful at arcades into the mid-90s. Bullshit, was it? Was it? I don't remember seeing that. Gone like back in 1985. Ports of the arcade and remakes have sold millions of units worldwide. What is the object of the game? Shooting down enemy aircraft, destroy the enemy's cities, save the princess, or defend the city? You defend the cities by shooting down missiles. That was easy. Question 2. You're at a busy arcade and someone is playing the game you want to play. Really, this should be in past tense, because this stuff doesn't happen anymore. In order to be next to play, you put a 10 pence on the side of the machine, don't you? So you want to go. Answer, place your pound or token on the edge of the screen. Token? That's not going to happen. And pound? Bloody hell. Does this still go on in these days? Well, I suppose it might go on like Street Fighter or something. You do occasionally see these machines around. Question 1. In Super Mario Bros. 2, the first boss you encounter was defeated by jumping on it, shoot fireballs at it, throw darts, egg it. I don't know. Doki Doki Panic. Egg it. What? Let's just read this sentence out. In Super Mario Bros. 2, the first boss you encounter was defeated by egg it. Well, I feel we've all learned something today. Mostly that these questions are frickin' weird. Question 2. The long-running series Ultima falls into which gaming genre? They're role-playing games. Oh, yes. Or RPG, full rocket-propelled grenade, potentially. Go on then. Question 1. Most puzzles in the original Tomb Raider series were solved by platforming, collecting items, shooting hidden targets, or pulling levers. What? Well, you didn't collect many items in Tomb Raider, you didn't shoot hidden targets, you did pull some levers, and you can't solve a problem by platforming. Really? Can you know they are looking for platforming? That's a stupidly worded question, and I think you should eat your own face as a result. Question 2. In Crash Bandicoot, there are 2 levels where the hero rides a special mount. What is it? He rides a pig, doesn't he? A hog. There we are, that's close enough. And finally, because I've got them elsewhere, and frankly I want to end this video because it's doing my brain in. Question 1. Myst, with inverted commas at the end but not at the start, is closely tied to which gaming genre? Graphic adventure, RPG, puzzle, MMO. It's kind of a graphic adventure, isn't it? I mean, it has graphics, new adventure, but it's full of puzzles. What are you saying? Puzzle? Yeah, not really agreeing with that. It's also one of the most boring games ever conceived by man. Question 2. Who designed the 100 million copies selling The Sims? It's Will Wright. We all know Will Wright. We all went to his barbecue and we all got food poisoning. Damn you, Will Wright. Well, there we go. Most of them are all right, but there's a real sort of thread going through it of weird questions where they're very strangely written, or they're just plain kind of wrong or haven't given you all the answers. I think if you are actually organising some sort of video game quiz, you should probably not use these to get your questions. You should make them up out of your own brain and then make up the answers at will and watch everybody get really angry because they can't guess what rubbish you've written down. That's why I'm banned from so many pubs.